Hey everybody, welcome back. So today we're going to be doing another update on my midwifery and women's health nurse practitioner journey. So my last video, I told you that I was done with the didactic portion of my program, which I'm so excited about, and due to start my clinicals very soon. So let's see where to start. What have I been doing since December? Nothing. I mean, well, I wouldn't say nothing, but I have been doing some reading and some studying. I've been studying from an old review book, trying to just learn, I guess, maybe the overall content that I need for clinicals. So although I haven't been taking didactic coursework, I did have to take 3 classes. These classes were actually skill courses. I had to go to a week-long intensive where we were taught the hands-on skills that we need for clinical and for future practice. It was so sad that I had to leave my kids for a week, but I did learn so much. So let's get into some of the stuff that I had to do. We'll start by this. So I had to catch a flight to the place that I had to go. And the first day we got there, it was more of like an orientation type of thing. We got to know each other. We were put in the groups that we were in. We met the professors and had dinner. And the first night was kind of like just everyone was kind of like socializing and studying. Studying for what? The first checkoff was a full head to toe assessment. So we had to get checked off on an adult head to toe assessment and a newborn head to toe assessment. And as a nurse, you have to know how to do a head to toe, but this was a little bit more intense. It was so nerve-wracking. Nerve-wracking in the sense that if you did not pass this check off, you failed the whole intensive. Like you actually had to go home and try it over again, because the checkoff was worth, I want to say, like 98% of your grade. So yeah, it was crazy. But we did do a little studying. I had a roommate. It was almost like I was back in undergrad again, as far as like having the roommate. Let's see, what else? We had practice session, how to do the full head to toe assessment. And that had to be completed, I think, by the second day, the 3rd day that we were there. I arrived on a Sunday, so we had to do the check off on Tuesday. On Thursday was check off for the newborn head to toe assessment, and that also was a huge portion of your grade. It didn't count for as much as the adult. But these were 2 separate courses these exams were for. We also learned how to suture. And this is so that if our patients were to get a laceration during childbirth, then we learn how to repair it. It was so interesting. The first couple of days that we tried, we learned huge foam boxes and yarn. It wasn't until I want to say the last day we had to practice it. We actually used real sutures and we practiced on beef tongue. Yeah, it was like so disgusting to have them sit this huge piece of meat in front of you. I'm not even going to get into it, but that and chicken breast is a good way to practice your suturing. It was great that we learned and I had fun practicing it, but yeah, I think when I practice, I'm just gonna go with the chicken breast. I don't know how I feel about the huge beef tongue being in front of me, but yeah. Anyway, that was fun. They taught us the different techniques for the different layers of tissue that you have to repair. We learned how to hold the instruments. We learned the suture tie-offs. It was really informative, and I had so much fun. Next, learned how to check cervical exams. Most of us, we knew how to do it because we're labor and delivery nurses, but being a labor and delivery nurse is not a requirement to attend a nurse midwifery program. So one of the techniques that they used to teach us cervical exams was vagina in the box. Not a real one, but there was this plastic box, and then you would insert your fingers inside to this kind of rubber material that you can switch out, that represented the different changes in the cervix. So you would reach in this box, which you couldn't see which cervical measurements it was, and you would have to figure it out. The most interesting to me was they used these brown paper bags, and inside there was baseballs, and on them they had clay, and the clay was molded into the different cervical measurements. So you would stick your hand inside these brown paper bags, and you literally had to feel around, see what the measurement was. We also did the birthing process, which was the most exciting thing ever. We had these dummies, these dummy models, and it was called, I think they were like Sophie and her mom. And basically the baby would come through the dummy mom, and you had to practice the child birthing maneuvers. It was so interesting. Of course, you learn the normal way of birthing, you know, the hand placement and the cardinal movements of the baby. You had to expect which way the baby would restitute, where your hands are placed, how you help to guide the baby out, how you hand the baby off to the mom. After that, we did like complications almost. So if the baby were to, with the cord around his neck, how would you help to deliver that baby? So we practiced those things on that first day. And then after that, we moved on to the complications. So the main two complications that we concerned ourselves with there was postpartum hemorrhage, 3rd stage and 4th stage, and also shoulder dystocias. So we had a whole set of different dummies, and I forget if they were Sophie and her mom, or if they was something else, I can't remember. But basically we were put in like groups of 4 people. Everyone had their role. Like you were either the midwife, you could be the nursery nurse, you could be the labor and delivery nurse, or the support person to the mom. Everyone had their different roles, and the first couple times that we practiced, it was like a normal type of thing, and you practice what you do in these certain situations. Of course, we did learn these things over the course of our curriculum in our classes. We did have like an overview before we started the simulations, but you had to rely on what you already knew. And when you're put in the hot seat of being the midwife, oh my goodness, it was so nerve-wracking. So when you're not the midwife and you're playing these other roles, you can kind of think through it and think, okay, well, they should be doing this, or we should be doing that, or da 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 da. But it's totally different when you're in that hot seat. We had so much fun. It was so much fun, and it was I want to say the cherry on top of learning everything in the book, to really get a chance to put your hands on it and see what it was that you were learning. Makes it so much better, and it revived the passion in me, because I was going through all of these classes and they were just getting more and more intense and more difficult, and you kind of just lose the motivation. That's why I did that video on how to keep motivated. Check it out. I'll post a little link up here, because I really needed that motivation, and this was one of the things that actually motivated me to really get in there and do these things. And see what else. We learned how to estimate blood loss. So after you have a baby and you do have a lot of bleeding, or you have a hemorrhage, you have to either estimate or measure the amount of bleeding that the mom had, so to determine if it was a true hemorrhage or not. And you can't just go by the blood that's in this kind of bag. You use these little bag things that scoops under the mom's butt and catch all the fluid. It has like these measuring lines on it, but you have to measure everything. You have to measure all the chucks, the pads, clots. Like, you have to measure a lot just to get a correct estimate or guesstimate or measurement. So yeah. What else did we do? There were a lot of bonding things that me and my classmates did. We made these friendship bracelets. We had another awesome classmate. She brought in bracelets that she made, and they were different stone. They all meant something, so that was really sweet. They had a blessing way. I actually didn't attend it. I was having a little, you know, I wouldn't say anxiety issues, but I was really missing home. So I spent that time talking to my family on the phone, and I did not attend the blessing way. But the blessing way is something where it blesses your journey through the next portion of the program, which is the clinical portion. You do the blessing of the hand, and what they did was they brought in different herbs that all meant something, and they poured them into this bowl one by one and kind of told what each herb meant and what it meant to them and what they meant it for each other. And at the end, they mixed all the herbs together and then rubbed them on each of their hands. Just basically taking all the blessings and well wishings of all the students and rubbing them on their hands, giving them a blessing, you know, to do well in the clinical portion. I wish I could have participated, but I did not. I guess I'll do my own little blessing way at home. I guess maybe do it in my own little special way. I guess maybe some herbs that might mean some things to me, and get a couple of Bible scriptures that mean a lot to me, and kind of get myself together and ready. But yeah, that's basically what I've been doing. We also, I totally forgot. So some other things that we learned how to do was insert IUDs, also do vaginal exams, and also pap smears. So that was actually the first morning we did the pap smears, vag exams, and IUD placements. Am I missing anything? Oh, we did microscopy. So we looked at different cells underneath of the microscope. Let's see, you can see different things like STDs under the microscope, if there's any blood under the microscope. And this is all from a vaginal mucus smear. So yeah, that was that. Let's see what else. We had some we had lectures on what to do in complications. Also IT, there's a couple of apps that we had to load onto our phones. We also did coursework classes to teach us how to keep track of all our clinical hours, so that we get credit for the clinical hours and the processes, or I don't know I'm drawing a blank on, but all the different things that you have to learn how to do before you're able to move on to the next class of clinical, and before you're able to graduate. Am I missing anything? Before I went to this intensive, we had to take an exam. It was a complications exam, basically what we knew about like postpartum hemorrhage and a shoulder dystocia and things like that. You had to actually take it wasn't written because all of my tests are online, but you had to take that exam and it counted towards a portion of your grade. So yeah, that's what I've been doing leading up to clinicals. I've just been tying some loose ends, getting ready to start, getting my schedule, doing orientation and things like that. So I will definitely be documenting my journey. I have to do, like I said, a set amount of things, and I will be doing a countdown here so that you can keep track with me. So the main number is 40. So 40 deliveries. 40 baby deliveries. So I want you guys to help me count down. I'll be counting down on my Instagram, on my Snap, and I think I might revive my Twitter. I haven't really been tweeting lately, so yeah. I want you to keep up with me and send me all your blessings, because I'm definitely going to need it. I'm getting a little nervous but excited at the same time. So don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you soon. So smooches.